Hello and welcome to another dramatic reading by me, Androzan84. Today we'll be looking at Power Rangers Sword Dynasty. The whole premise is about prior to the existence of Power Rangers Samurai, the same author would later go on to do Super Sentai vs Power Rangers. Rangers did his own adaptation of Shinkenger, which takes elements from Masked Man, along with the help of a few other contributors such as Mr. Smith and Chris X. The results leave a lot to be desired. Anyway, we're about to start. Today's soundtrack will be one to Kamen Rider Gaim, since I don't actually have any Shinkenger music. So let's start with Act 1, The Great Invasion of Sticks. Finally, I think the first episode is ready, but don't expect too much dialogue, okay? Oh god, it's going to be one of those chapters. Michael Lee Shan is now preparing for his training, seeing back to his responsibilities. Flashbacks of his responsibilities now being placed. We don't actually see those responsibilities. So, as far as I know, it could be that he has to take over his family's cheese grating business. Just then, the evil Unglers begin their attack. And here's where the Masked Man elements come in. He named the Mooks after the Masked Man, Mooks. It's time for battle. Michael Lee Shan began his pose and transformed into Red Dynasty Ranger and shows some moves, which will not be described, he just shows some moves. On the other hand, director Samuel Hung's worst fears have come true. The Styx Empire has begun its quest to take over the surface world. Though he defeated them, he fears his powers are not enough. Can we hear this story instead? It already sounds a lot better. Back at the Lee Shan dojo, 4 other characters are seen. One is the lovely white girl Marianne, the Irish guy Charles, the black guy Roberto, and the Spanish girl Cornelia. No surnames for any of you. They are awaiting orders. Just then, director Samuel Hung appears. I guess now you are ready to be Power Rangers as well, said director Samuel Hung. Good god, this is annoying with Takaru in SSVPR. Now you're going to do it to this Samuel Hung character? It is no chance you'll win the tournament set before you. Couldn't we have actually seen the tournament instead of being told they won it? I mean, Jungle Fury was able to show us there's this plot that began with the winning of a tournament, and that was pretty cool. Well, among others, because you are destined to do so, even if you are the first people outside of the race of China to carry on the legacy of the original Sword Dynasty. Again, can we get the events of the original? They already sound way better than this. Just then, Michael came in and said, "You 4 are needed. Do not be hesitant to accept it." Well, all accept it, except for Charles. I'll let you pick out what's wrong with that sentence. Who has had some biases towards his destiny. At the land of Styx, now corrupted by dark waters. We aren't told what it looked like before that corruption, so don't get your hopes up. A magnificent vessel with a great and evil emperor dressed in a silver cloak, a black face mask covering his ugly visage. So basically Emperor Zebra from Masked Man. His name is Gedor. Gedor calls for his minions, namely Lady Ling and Erebus. It seems there will be opposition after all, Gedor says, getting angry. The surface world is our goal, but with opposition we can't take over. Emperor, there's still one, what can that do? Who? Asked Lady Ling. Apparently she's confused about the sentence he was asking, and to be honest, I don't blame her. Send one of my monsters, namely Big Face. He will do well to defeat those warriors, Gedor commanded. Just then, a frozen monster falls out of the river bottom to serve. Just then, the monster is sent to the city. Just then? Seriously, stop repeating your words, just then. Michael said, "You are now Power Rangers Sword Dynasty. I may be the only last descendant of the group." But that is a contradiction in terms. You are the only one of the last. Okay, you can be both, but choose a word. But you 4 have been chosen. It is your destiny. The Guardian chose you. Each one of them had their choices. Marianne chose to because she wants a new meaning in life. Roberto accepts out of willingness. Cornelia wants to do her best. And as for Charles, well, he just wants to prove to everybody he's the best. Why are we rooting for these people again? And just then, the vassals, Fat and Finn, appear. They are Chinese idiots. Well, it's glad that they're not just regular idiots. They have to be Chinese idiots. Master, here are the other 4 morphing devices, said Fat with a respectful bow. The 4 take their devices and they go to the battlefield where the monster is. The monster Big Face said, "Aha! So I do have opposition, but they will be easy cake." What? What does easy cake even mean? Not so fast, said Michael. Now, draw the Chinese characters with your morphing devices. They haven't actually shown any characters. What are they supposed to draw? Each one drew their respective characters. Fire, sky, water, metal, wood. No, it's earth, not metal. After their morphing sequence, they are the Power Rangers Sword Dynasty. They have their fancy suits, but are they a match for me? Unglers, attack! Commanded Big Face. He just took care of the Unglers one by one. Charles is having a little problem until he uses his wood spear, and then Michael beats the crap out of Big Face, who then enlarges. Great fight, guys. Oh no, we have a problem here, Michael said. Through the communicators, Samuel Lung said, "Call for a Dynasty Zords. We designed modern versions to help in the battle." Again, I wonder what the ancient versions were like. Just then, the Dynasty Zords appeared, all of a sudden. There's the Fire Lion Zord, the Sky Turtle Zord, the Water Dragon Zord, the Metal Monkey Zord, and the Forest Bear Zord. Each one of them perform their individual attacks and the enemy is banished. Can you give it a little more detail than that? I mean, if you look up some of my fanfics and adaptations of Sentai, at least I try to meticulously describe what's happening in the scene. Or just summarise it for people who've already seen it. "Yeah, we did it," said Michael. Just then, back at the corrupted Styx Kingdom, the evil Emperor is outraged. He begins blasting energy bolts around. "Careful, your highness, you don't want to destroy this vessel, do you?" said Erebus. "So, the pesky Dynasty Sword Rangers have returned. Well, I thought it was the end of their lineage. However, the power is handled by non-descendants as well," said Gedor, fuming with rage. "But I will destroy them anyway." Again, you should really establish a backstory before you get to the main plot. I mean, at least in Samurai, they at least made it clear that this is something they've been doing for centuries. Entries in the opening narration. And plus we got that flashback of Jaden's dad passing on the Zord to him, signifying that he is the Red Ranger now. Back at the base, the Rangers tried to celebrate, but Samuel Hung said, "This is just the beginning. You must train your bodies harder because you need aura power to combine the Dynasty Megazord." "Huh? Aura power?" Michael asked and looked in utter shock. "Yeah, I know, that's from a completely different series to Shinkenger, which has 99% of nothing in common." Okay, just wait a few minutes for Act 2 to load. Act 2, The Great Aura Power. Last episode, the Dynasty Sword Rangers are told of their training for aura power. Just then at the Ghetto ship, the Emperor is really angry. "Our plan to convert the surface world into a dark kingdom will be halted. I thought it was the end of their bloodline when I made sure to it decades ago. Now new wielders have come." Emperor Gedor fumed. "I suggest we choose another one of our monsters, my Emperor, namely Windblade. No relation to the Transformers character of the same name, since she existed long after this." "He will do well," Lady Lynx said. "Done," said Emperor Gedor, following another of the frozen monsters. Utsamuji from Shinkenger's used for this monster. Yeah, no, duh. From what I've heard from a live blog, this whole thing has no originality to it. Flashback. It's revealed that in China, there were 5 brave warriors who fought against the evils of the corrupted Styx, hoping one day to restore balance between the surface and the underground. And see the Sword Dynasty Rangers beat the crap out of some of the Unglers. Again, this would be good to be established in the first episode. Back at the base, everybody's preparing for training, all except for Charles, who is getting biased about taking orders from non-Americans. I can see why Saban didn't go with this idea instead of what we got. Charles, it's either you take this job seriously or you're fired, Michael said, but he just got a sarcastic look. Michael resumed his training until he discovers he's got his own weakness, the lovely Marianne who distracts him. What's to be done to unlock the aura power? Maybe ignore Marianne? On the other hand, Cornelia goes missing and the other three go to find her, all except Michael, who tries to prevent his distraction. However, all he could think in his mind was his lovely teammate Marianne. Just then, the others find Cornelia training on her own. Hungry? Asked Charles. Here's a burger. Just then, Michael finds Jones and says, "Stop goofing off and resume training!" Charles tries to mumble, but Director Hunker hits him. Fat and Finn begin to observe them. Okay, so already we've got a racist and an asshole as Rangers. Again, I can see why they never picked this concept up. Now, the monster shows up in the city and starts to destroy everything. Rangers are forced to do meditations, hoping to unleash the power of aura within them. Again, another Masked Man rip-off. However, some distractions occur between them as their thoughts begin to mingle. Just then, their concentration is broken. "What's the matter?" Director Samuel Hung said. "You must concentrate." "There's no time," said Michael. "We must go to the city now. People are in danger." Windblade shows up just in time. Just in time for what? They do their fancy morphing sequence and fight the monster, only to realise there's much conflict between them. Such as what? Due to the other four power down as Cornelia steps in the way to protect Michael from danger. Why? This whole episode has been nothing to do with Cornelia other than her going missing. I mean, at least in Shinkenger and Samurai, we had Kotohara and Emily. He basically leaving because they felt they couldn't live up to their respective sisters. Just then, Michael gets into conflict with Cornelia and says, "You can't save people by trying your best. You have to get stronger." Trying your best to save people is pretty much how you save them. Michael walks in some arrogance with his status. Yeah, no duh. They begin to talk bad about him until they see him rescue an injured civilian. "We must put our differences aside," said Roberto. "I think that way we can unleash the aura power. We must try again." "Funny," the monster said. "This will be easy." Rangers begin their meditation poses, clearing their minds as much as possible. Goes to a point it's stupid. When the author realizes his stuff is stupid, he knows something is wrong. Their minds, however, the powers begin to unleash. Their minds cleared, becoming one, and they all do their morphing again. I just realised the dude hasn't given them a morphing catchphrase. I mean, is there a reason for that? The aura power is ready. I guess we are now going to show what it can do, said Michael. Our swords, that's it. The sword Dynasty Rangers perform their sword attack on Windblade, but he enlarges. It's time to use aura power again. Now our minds are one. This monster won't fall down easily with just our separate mecha. We will combine, said Michael. The Dynasty Zords show up, and for a little while a goof-off happens and the Red Ranger Zord isn't included. Then Michael says, as said, our aura power needs us to be one. I think I could summarise it better than this. Forming the meditation stance, they combine into a Dynasty Megazord. Awesome, said Marianne. So this is the power of united minds. After an exchange of blows, the Dynasty Megazord draws its Blade of Destiny to destroy the monster. I give him this, the Blade of Destiny is an awesome ass name. Shame it's wasting such a crappy pick as this. After the battle, the Rangers see the power of aura together. Now you've learned the meaning of teamwork, said Director Hung. No, they learned fuck all. Sorry I was harsh on you earlier, said Michael with a bow. Baron said, well, it's kind of good he saw through his hidden arrogance, but you'll still need more training to keep your aura togetherness intact. Mike could only look at Marianne with admiration. Why? Next episode, Emperor Geddor sent for a new monster called the Land Bastard to cause a series of earthquakes, hoping to overflow the dark waters. On the other hand, Charles has led to an enlightenment in this episode about his biases towards Orientals. Presumably he learns to stop calling them Orientals, since that's racist. King. The Power Rangers Sword Dynasty team have just seen their unity. How? Fortunately for them, the Emperor Ghidorah hasn't given up. However, Charles can get overconfident at times and it infuriates Michael. Michael gets a gong and bangs it hard. Hey, wake up Charles, shouts Michael. We need to train. Up. It's only 6 AM, Charles replied. We need to train. As said, the aura power can weaken from a lack of training. That has never been said. Move it, Michael said angry. But, said Charles. I said move it, said Michael in an angry manner. Okay, this is just getting a bit over the top. He then spotted Marianne and tapped her shoulder all of a sudden. He was particularly infuriated with her. Marianne noticed his hot temper. Well, it's time for training, girlfriend, said Michael. Move it. So in addition to being an asshole, Michael is also a sexist. Lovely. Girlfriend? Marianne asked in frustration. What makes you think I'm going to be yours? Doesn't mean you're a team leader. Either you can just take advantage of me, you beast. I'm not going to be yours because you're above me. Unfortunately, the story is going to portray Michael as right in this, even though he clearly isn't. Well, you can be my beauty and my wife, said Michael. Said Marianne, delivering a blow, but Michael countered her. I haven't seen a girl with your kind of spirit. Let me reward you, said Michael, who kissed at the mouth. And now he's a rapist! Is anyone in this fic actually likeable? She blushed, implying she may like him. May. Brute, said Marianne. Anyway, I'm training even if I can't like the likes of you. In fact, I don't even know why I'm hanging out with you. I should just quit and form my own Ranger team with Blackjack and male hookers. In fact, forget the Ranger team with Blackjack. Screw the whole thing. Oh, you soon will be mine. Just wait and see, said Michael. Are we sure Michael isn't the real villain in this fic? Charles, having enough, then decided to hang out with 2 unnamed friends. They're not important, they don't get named. Just then, Fat and Finn entered the room and said, Director, Michael is ready for his training. On the other hand of the Underground Kingdom, the de facto Emperor thinks of his new move. Those meddling Sword Dynasty Rangers must be removed. In fact, they've even achieved to turn their swords into incredible weapons, none of which I have seen in the past, Emperor Ghidorah grumbled. That raised an interesting point. Were the super individual weapons something only the modern Shinkengers unlocked, or is it something they inherited from the ancestors? Please reply. I can't rule both the surface and the underground this way. The dark water needs to be full. I think the plan, my lord, will now involve this, said Lady Ling. Why not send an earthquake? I'm sure the wicked land basher can do the job. The plan will work. Indeed, it will be an earthquake that will be worse than natural ones, said Erebus. How? And it will definitely destroy them. Charles was goofing off. Wicked land basher started to cause earthquakes, much to the Ghidorah's delight. The younglings begin their attack, and Charles, through his lack of training, isn't able to defend his friends and may fall down as land basher uses stretchable arms underground. Back at Valère, the Emperor's policing. I hope this time those accursed Rangers will not be able to counter this and we can take over the surface world. Michael then appears in the ship apparently, since there's no scene breaks in this. And says, that's what you get for your lack of training. Come out and fight us, Ghidorah. If you can't keep it up as a Power Ranger, then quit. This job isn't for losers. You didn't win the tournament for nothing. But I'm just wondering, how did 4 people win the tournament? Did they all win separate tournaments? Was it just the top 4 become Rangers? Can someone please rationalise this? Charles, hit by such harsh words, decides it's time to do some serious training and sees through the power of wood, the forest. He says, that must be it, if I could detect the sound on the ground. Sound. On the other hand, there's no speech marks of that at all. On the other hand, Michael is training with his sword, hoping to get all better. Apparently he was sick, and only being a swordsman can cure it. As then the monster begins to attack the city again. Here, I won the last time. I'll defeat you again, said Lampbasher. And with you out of the way, the Emperor will rule the world. That's what you think. What you think, said Charles. They begin to morph into their Sword Dynasty warriors form, and Charles begins to deal with the monster. One ground bash after the other, Charles lures the arms and intertwines them and lands a death blow. It can't be, said Lampbasher, seeing his arms tied together. Charles delivers a death blow and the monster enlarges. That just reminded me, he's not explained how he's monster enlarging. I mean, in Shinkenger and Samurai, they both say that a monster has two lives / forms. And then Amit Bow makes an unused concept for Samurai. Apparently it was just the dire equivalent playing her shamisen. And he's determined to finish the monster himself with his forest bear Zord, but the other Dynasty Zords show up as well. Hey, don't combine without permission, Charles said angrily. You're not the leader, he can do what he wants. We need the power to be one, Michael said. We must concentrate as one mind. This way we'll be able to attack the monster's arms by surprise. Just then, the monster used the same technique, but the Dynasty Megazord is able to counter the attack and use a sword cut attack. Slash! The monster is defeated. Well, that was cool, Charles said. No, it wasn't. Just then, Charles pays a visit to two of his friends, who were probably different from the two he visited earlier. It didn't say whether they were the same. Later goes back to the base for training. It's time for him to make up for his lacks of work and is determined to improve more than ever and calls Michael as his commander. Just then, Gedo is angered about another defeat. We'll meet again, Sword Dynasty Rangers, and the next I'll be more ready, the Emperor scowls. Right, now for Act 4, the penultimate installment I'll cover, Tears of Woe, which rather than being a word-for-word retype of a Shinkenger episode with a few names changed, is instead a word-for-word retype of a Masked Man episode with a few names changed. Act 4, Tears of Woe. The Sword Dynasty Rangers prepare for another rough session. Michael is about to train everyone and notice they're all losing focus. Or maybe because you haven't actually given them any major screen time, except to show us that Marianne is the obsession of Michael's crust. Unless you're focused, we can never defeat the Styxians, said Michael. And the legacy of 4 warriors who you were unrelated was not passed down to you for no reason. Yes, it was. They literally just won it as a prize in a tournament. Back at the corrupted Styx Kingdom on board the Darkness ship. I'm sure it was called something else, but I'm not too unbothered to go back and check. Emperor Gedor is fuming over his defeat. Just then, Erebus makes mention of a new plan. Your Majesty, I said lest we send our new monster, Mr. Weeper, to cause a huge depression. That way we can conquer the surface world easily. They'll be too depressed to fight, plus it will help increase the amount of dark water to flood the surface, said Lady Ling. Oh, I thought that was Erebus. But our plan could be thwarted by the flower of happiness, said Erebus. I'm just going to swap the voices for this chapter. But it's going to bloom underground though. There's no way that it can be retrieved that easily. Still, I have to ensure the victory of our monster. Ensure his success, said Emperor Gedor. It will work, starting with the dreaded Sword Dynasty Rangers. Back to the Rangers, Michael is training them all, and it happens to be that Roberto and Marianne are losing out their focus. We need concentration to do this, said Michael. You can do it. Try again. The Rangers keep up with their training. Just then, Michael said, we'll need to practice some more. Charles, Cornelia, you're next. When Michael is training with Charles and Cornelia on the next level, Mr. Weep appears. Ah, good victims. That'll be excellent to divide the team. Then I can make everybody weep without control. For some reason his speech is italicized in this thing instead of anything more logical. Just then the monster is spotted. We need to call the others, Cornelia said. Not so fast, Mr. Weeper said. He began to fire incredibly fast laser beams. Berto and Marianne hear the explosion but arrive too late, discovering that the others were hit and depressed. Huh? What happened? Marianne said. She was either more peculiar or Michael. Just then they were in uncontrollable sadness. Our base director Samuel Hung said, I believe it's another of the underground kingdom's invasion plans. This monster I believe is known as the Weeper, one who triggers the emotions of people, making them depressed. Too depressed only to cry and not be aware of what's happening. This way the underground can take over easily. That's bad news. They'll die, said Roberto. Is there a way to defeat the monster? I've heard of a legendary flower of happiness, said Marianne. I think it's to defeat them. Back to the location is at this point. I have seen it before, conveniently enough. I heard of it too, but it's located underground. High chances are the Mystique subjects could be there, said Director Samuel Hung. Be careful! Just then, they're on their way. That was quick. Erebus prepares a trap. A monster, Mr. Weeper, is there waiting. Ambush, Roberta said. I'll deal with this. Get the flower. Okay, Marianne said. Marianne began to try her best to get the flower as she remembered it. She prepares to make drastic efforts and gets it. She got it after a fight with the Younglers. Just then, the two of them got out together. Gedorvin sent a telepathic message saying, forget them, attack the city and prepare for more tears. Roberta and Marianne returned back to the base with the flower. Director Samuel said, good job, now we just need to focus it on them. They finally went to the site where the monster is attacking. Just then, Roberta and Marianne have a plan to attack the monster together as it could see them everywhere using their special weapons, namely the water arrow and the heaven fan. Yeah, he's just copying the Shinkenger weapon names. Mr. Weeper explodes somehow and grows. Before combining into the Dynasty Megazord, both the Sky Turtle Zord and the Water Dragon Zord attack together. Now it's time to combine. Now let's finish it, said Michael. Blade of Dynasty, final blow! After the battle, it's time for another training session. Good God, even the Shinkengers and Samurai Rangers got time off. Well, looks like I'm the one in need of more training, said Michael. Not really, all of us. Haven't you forgotten we're one team? Roberta said. And by the way, Marianne was kind of worried about you. Really? Michael said and approached Marianne. I was not, said Marianne, stomping Michael's foot. Yes, Marianne, stand up to misogyny. Is she just denying her feelings? No, she isn't. Just keep staying tuned. And the next final chapter of this reading will be Act 5, Awaken, Beetlezord. And there's a nice picture of Bakabuto Origami's last Samurai Beetlezord for us, in case you don't know what episode they're doing. Get all spun around and blasted huge powerful currents of energy towards both Erebus and Lady Ling. Two of them screamed in pain. Get all lowered down his hand and stopped. Both Erebus and Lady Ling fell to the floor, breathing heavily. You fools! Get all roared. 4 times you have both failed me. Is this truly all that you're worth? Gedor turned so that his back was facing them. He peered outside the window and looked down the river below. This river isn't overflowing one bit. If only Skull Slash and Deception were both here, we'd be done already. And those are equivalent to Juzo and Akumaru, or Decker and Serator. The author pretty much sucks at foreshadowing. He thinks just saying this is going to happen later, instead of making an oblique hint that actually pays off later. Lady Ling clenched her teeth in frustration. That's a feat, I can tell you, since she only has an upper row of teeth. Forgive me, I will continue to do whatever I can to destroy those rangers, for sure. Erebus just stared at her. Yeah, I'm surprised too, Erebus. She can clench her teeth. Meanwhile, Michael opened up a hidden box. Inside was an orange disc. Michael pulled the disc out, equipped it onto his sword, and headed outside. At the nearby amusement park, the other 4 rangers were enjoying some time off. I'd say it's about time we got a day to just relax and enjoy ourselves, said Charles. He stretched himself. Hey, don't take it too lightly, said Robert. Cause starting early morning tomorrow, we're going to train harder than ever. Charles just responded with a yawn. Hey, come on, said Cornelia, get excited. Let's save training for when the time comes. Right now, let's enjoy our time off. Yeah, you're right, said Roberta. Yeah, you're right, said Roberta, a little taken aback by Cornelia's unusual kindness. It's not unusual, she's a direct copy-paste of Kota, who doesn't have a mean bone in her body. Emily, less so.
So let's talk.
Hey Marianne, and Connie goes, wanna ride the merry-go-round with me? Apparently they're at a theme park now. Marianne didn't answer. Her head was turned away from the rest of the team as she stared out into space. Marianne, Cornelia repeated. Yeah, I don't know if the accents I'm giving these characters match up with what nationality he said they were, and frankly I don't care. Oh sorry, yeah? Marianne stuttered. What's wrong? Cornelia asked as Roberto ran off to get some food. I was just thinking about another Michael, Marianne answered. Perhaps she knows another guy named Michael. I just hope he's a lot better than ours. I was just wondering where he was during our day off. Presumably nowhere near you since it's a different Michael to the one you know. Charles laughed. Sounds like someone's got it going for Michael. No, she doesn't, Charles. Marianne's face turned bright red. What do you mean? She asked. What do you mean? What do I mean? Charles said. You're blushing. Seriously, why do you have feelings for that guy anyway? Wouldn't someone as awesome like me be more your type? Okay, I'm deliberately going to ship Charles and Marianne just to spite the author. Oh, because let's face it, this dude is not let's face it, I'm not doing it because I like the characters, since Charles is a racist and Marianne is, I don't know what vice he has, but she's got something going on. It's not like that at all, Marianne protested. I'm just thinking about him as a friend. Gee, I wonder, said Charles, sounding doubtful. You want to bet? Marianne shouted, holding out her fist. Hey, I was just kidding, Charles shouted as Marianne came after him. Charles ran around the merry-go-round trying to avoid her. Is this supposed to be comedy or something? Because it's not working. Berto came back with drinks for everyone. Did I miss something? He asked. Not really, Cornelia answered. Say, would you have any idea where Michael might be? I would assume he could be training, Roberto answered. Berto's eyes just widened with realization. Why am I not training as hard as he is? I am not worthy of being a vassal. This is your day off. Oh, come on, Cornelia laughed. Don't beat yourself up. You're perfectly fine. Now come on, let's go have some fun. Cornelia tugged Roberto by the sleeve and ran up to a merry-go-round. Just as Marianne finally caught Charles and wrestled him to the ground. Help me, Charles shouted. Marianne appeared to be enjoying herself. Yeah, I'm definitely shipping these two now. Meanwhile, Michael spun the orange disc on his sword. His sword bursted with fire. Bursted into word. The heat was intense. Michael held up the sword with all his might. The power was becoming too much. Sword blast out of his hand, knocking him into the ground. Darn it, he shouted. I have to master this skill. Michael, came Director Samuel Hung's voice. There's trouble, he said, trying to catch his breath. Steeks is attacking the amusement park. What? Michael shouted. Quickly picked up the sword and ran off. A new monster, Tough Scales, which does not suit him at all if you've seen the monster in this episode. Uses powerful weapons to blast at several parts of the amusement park. Rangers arrived, already morphed into their suits. Hold it right there, Charles shouted. The Rangers, said Tough Scales. 4 Rangers pulled out their swords, ran up to Tough Scales and struck him. Suddenly the swords went right through him. What? Marianne shouted. Too bad, said Tough Scales. He then pulled out his own sword and struck all 4 of them at once, sending them all flying backwards, hurting them badly. Those kinds of attacks don't work on me. Suddenly Michael came jumping into the scene, morphed in his own suit. Hold it right there, said Michael. The Red Dynasty Ranger, said Tough Scales. Careful, our swords don't work on him, Cornelia called. What? Odd, said Michael. In that case, he equipped his orange disc onto his sword. What is that? Roberto asked. You'll see, Michael answered. Michael spun his disc and the blades of his sword began to glow with fire. What's this? Said Tough Scales. You're about to find out, Michael replied. The heat was becoming too much for him. Can't hold on, he shouted. Tough Scales laughed. Quit wasting my time. Tough Scales then lunged towards Michael. He swung his sword, ready to slash Michael. Michael quickly blocked it with his flaming sword. Two of them struggled, trying to gain upper hand. But soon Tough Scales was starting to win. Roberto wasn't going to let him do that. Everyone, he shouted. Focus all of your energies on Michael. Meditation! Right, the others shouted. 4 of them got into their meditation poses. which I assume is the same as the Masked Man's, and I'm not going to look them up because I want you to do that at home. Oh, and it was tough, but soon all the power flowed out of him and back eased into Michael. Using this extra boost of power, Michael quickly gained the upper hand and used the new weapon called the Shot Bomber, which is stolen from Masked Man again, using his giant sword with all of their secret discs, which worked. Michael fell to the ground, gasping for air, and of course Tough Scales re-emerged in his giant-sized form. Even though it didn't state whether the shot bomber actually killed him, Michael quickly got back up to his feet. "Let's finish this," said Michael, pulling out his Fire Lion Zord. Apparently they're portable now. The others did the same as they called upon the Dynasty Megazord. Both Tough Scales and the Dynasty Megazord began their battle. Megazord managed to slash its sword into Tough Scales, but of course it didn't work. "Damn it, how can we beat this guy?" Roberto shouted, but Michael was already ahead of him. "Like this," he said, pulling out the orange disc. "We haven't mastered that yet," Cornelius shouted. "It's too dangerous." "It's the only way," said Michael. Michael jumped out of the Megazord, equipped the disc with his sword and spun it. The flames came bursting out. Michael just struggled to hold on to it. Soon the new Zord, the Beetle Zord, came bursting out of the Zord. "He did it!" Cornelius shouted. "Amazing, a Zord came out of the disc," said Marianne. Michael hopped into the Beetle Zord. He was still struggling with his sword and was feeling very exhausted from his drain of power. "Let's get this over with," said Michael. "Combine our Zord." "Right," everyone answered. Beetle Zord combined with the Dynasty Megazord, giving it an all-new form called the Dynasty Megazord Beetle Warrior Mode. Come on, the Beetle Warrior Megazord sounds much better. Even the Beetle Blaster Megazord for that matter. Tough Scales just laughed. "What the heck is bad?" "You said no. Oh, better without that blades can't hurt me. Unglers!" Suddenly, several giant-sized unglers appeared to help aid in the battle. Meanwhile, Michael began to feel weak in the knees. "Michael," Marianne asked. "I'm fine," said Michael. "Let us finish them off." Everyone else nodded and focused their energies on controlling their Zord. Megazord slashed through all of the unglers, defeating them all. Finally, it used its newly acquired special ability and finally destroying Tough Scales once and for all. Tense trouble there. "Alright, we did it! Woot!" Charles cheered. Woot. Yeah, we did it, Cornelia agreed. "Right, Michael?" Michael didn't answer. "Michael?" Cornelia repeated. Everyone turned to look at him. Suddenly, Michael fell to the floor and demorphed. His eyes were closed. "Michael!" Marianne shouted. She and everyone else demorphed as well. Marianne got down to where Michael had fallen. "Michael!" Marianne repeated. "Michael! Michael! Michael!" To be continued. No. "Hey Sean, I'm not going to be able to write another chapter anytime soon. Recently, fan subbing just got even more busy for me. I'm starting 3 or 4 brand new projects. Things have been getting really crazy and hectic, and I'm hoping to get things under control. I hope this chapter is a good addition to the story, and I hope you continue to do that as well. Thank you." Apparently it was written by Fantasy Leader, and those 5 chapters were just awful. Anyway, I'll see you soon for chapter 6 onwards, where we'll see if Michael survived. Personally, I hope he died and we can get someone else taking over.